Welcome back to Turntable Guy. So, went out thrifting yesterday and found this turntable at a local value village. What I wanted to do here is just to go over what you should be doing if you do find a turntable at a thrift store. What are some of the things you need to look for to know that you can bring it back and make it work again if it's not working, obviously, at the store. A lot of people will see a turntable. I mean, they're kind of in demand right now. And they'll look at it and they'll plug it in at the test center and see if it spins. I almost never expect them to spin because it seems like the majority of turntables were belt drives, and 99% of the time the belt is long gone. So what people will do is they'll plug it in, they'll move the arm over, it doesn't spin, and they'll put it back on the shelf. And this one's kind of interesting because when I had a look at it, I checked it over, motors running and stuff like that. No needle, of course, but the basic functions were there. So, I said, okay, I'll grab it. It was listed at $14.99. And it went up to it's all self-checkout now at the local store there. And went up to the self-checkout, grabbed the scanner, put it over, beep, doesn't work. And lady comes over and she's like, oh, hang on a second here. And she starts peeling away at the sticker. And I don't know if you can see the remnants here. Someone had placed a $14.99 sticker over the $19.99 sticker. That's what she says anyway. And that's fine. I'm like, for $5, I don't really care. $20 table here. Probably turn around and sell this for close to $100 once it's completely serviced and put back in a functioning condition, right? So, I just find it fascinating that people are changing prices at Value Village. So that either means that people are really hurting, or there's just a lot of thieves out there, or Value Village prices are too high. $20 for a turntable? No, I think that's fair. Okay, more than fair. I mean, I probably would have paid up to $30 for this, the way it sits, because I know that I can bring it back and get it functioning and turn it for a profit, right? For someone who's looking to make this their primary turntable, secondary turntable, I think that is a really fair price because I'll tell you right now, this obviously does not have a belt and the stylus is missing. So you're going to be a minimum $20 for a belt. And these days, the cost of diamond styli have gone up tremendously. Just looking at some of the local suppliers and some of the big online needle stores, you're probably looking around $30 to $50 for a base model stylus for this thing. Now, it's a P-mount cartridge. It's got the standard Audio-Technica AT-92, now called AT88 CP. Don't quote me. But it's been the same body, okay, the exact same body since the early 80s. Nothing has changed. And what they did is they would put the branding of the turntable. This is Hitachi. I guess we should say what it is. It's a Hitachi HT-1. It's a semi-automatic belt drive. It has very little on it, as most T4P or P-mount turntables had in the day. The weight has been adjusted at the factory for 1.25 grams. The anti-skate is set at 1.25, so there's absolutely no adjustment you can do to this thing other than maybe lift the height of the cueing arm and adjust the auto return and inside for speed adjustment. And there's the classic Audio-Technica cartridge. You've probably seen this a billion times. Like I said, you usually see it as the AT-92, or now they still market the exact same cartridge. The only difference in this cartridge was the color of the body, and there was a variety of styli available from conical all the way up to a Shibata. And I believe Jico still makes styli for this, and you can put an extremely high-end stylus on this. The body is excellent. It's just a matter of which stylus is on there that makes the difference in sound quality. So back to what I was originally saying. So you see this on the shelf, right? You're going to go up to it. You're going to pull off the shelf. You're going to put it on the testing center, and you're going to see if this is a turntable worth bringing home. Okay, so what you want to do is, you don't want to remove the dust cover, but I'll take it off for demonstration purposes here. You want to check, obviously, first of all, see if it's a belt drive or direct drive. So it's going to say somewhere on here. This one doesn't, but have a peek. So most of them do say if it's belt or direct drive. In this case, here's your motor. There's no belt around it. So see if you can lift the platter. Sometimes the platter is stuck, so you're going to need something to get this platter off. So what I recommend you do is carry the turntable around with you in the store. Go to the tools section, get a screwdriver, just tap on the center spindle just a little bit. It'll come off. Okay, don't hammer down on it because you could damage the bearing. Just give it a nice few taps, and then your platter will come off. And then check on the inner platter here. See if there's been belt death. A lot of times these turntables were stored with the belt on them, and the belt has turned to mush. So have a look. See, there might be remnants of the belt in here, right? So take that off, and then go back to the testing center, where you can find some AC power, and plug it in. And then what you want to check for, you want to see if your motor's spinning. So usually move your arm over, and you can hear this motor is rather noisy, but it is spinning, and it's got decent torque. It's just a little DC motor, right? That's what these tables had back in the day. Okay, so you know it's functional, got power, it's spinning. Check the 45 and 33. See if it's changing speed. It is. You can really hear it. Noisy little sucker. Check the cueing. This is not super important, but you just want to check the general functionality. Then move the arm over and check the auto return. Okay. So what do you know at this point? You know that this turntable is functional. Okay, motor shuts off. You've got a good candidate here for repair and restoration. And you could probably make this, a viable turntable. And you might want to sell it too. I mean, let's face it, most guys go to thrift stores to buy stuff that they can sell. Flip and sell, right, for a profit. Now, with the prices that have gone up so much, your profit margin has changed. It depends how many hours you put into this, right? So, anyway, that's it. So, this turntable's good. And then, give it a general look over. I mean, if you're picky about, the condition of the plinth and all that stuff, if it's not too filthy or beat to hell, bring it home. Give it a good cleaning, give it a good service, and make it playable again. And that's what we're going to do with this HT-1. We are going to service it. And I'll probably do this I think I'll do in a couple parts here. Maybe what we'll do in part 1 here, we'll service the basic mechanicals of the turntable. We'll install a belt. I have already ordered a stylus for this thing. Okay, so it's on its way. But in the meantime, when we go to test it for sound, I'll just put a test cartridge on. I always keep a couple spare cartridges around. This is just a Shure M92 here, P-mount. So we'll install that. I'll show you how you install a P-mount. And we'll give her a sound test and see how it's functioning. Okay, so the one thing you can't test, obviously, unless you can set up a receiver and speakers in the store, is you really can't test for sound. And if you don't have a stylus, it's really difficult. But sound is not the most important thing, because on a turntable, what comes out of the cartridge goes down the wires and out the RCA jacks. That's it. There's no electronics involved unless there's some kind of muting switch. So you should have sound. Now, you could have a bad cartridge, right? That's not a problem. You buy a new cartridge. Like I mentioned, HT-1, 81, I forget what the hell it's called, but they're readily available, and I think they're like $40, which doesn't make a lot of sense because you can buy the whole cartridge for what you can buy a stylus for these days. So Audio-Technica has always manufactured the P-mount cartridges, and that's great because there's a lot of these tables around. So, all right, so why don't we start our basic service on this thing, and we'll get it functioning mechanically, and then in part 2 we'll do the cleaning, and maybe in part 3 we'll do the lid restoration again. I haven't done a lid restoration video in quite a while, so we'll do that. So let's start with our basic service to get this thing running. Okay. Alrighty, so I can already tell you right now that this is a bearing that's very similar to the Technique's direct drive bearings. And the lubrication point for this is just to put a couple drops of oil right by the spindle there, and they'll sink down into the bearing well or bushing. That's the only way you lubricate the bearing here. So we don't need to remove this bearing. There's actually a C-clip here, I think it is. And there's going to be a gear on the bottom of this, so it's really difficult to remove, and it doesn't make any sense to remove it. This feels pretty decent, but we're going to put a couple drops of fresh oil down there. So there's really not a lot to do up here. We're going to do the motor for sure, but let's have a look underneath. I'm going to have a feeling that there's not a lot to do underneath either on this deck. I mean, there could be some nasty greases, but you're going to notice that this deck is pretty plasticky. It's probably a base model deck, so you're not going to have a ton of work to do on it. How many screws we got here? Oh, we got a shitload of screws. Let me just pause. I'll be right back. Okay, screws are out. It's just a basic cardboard bottom, very flimsy and cheap. Looks like there's been a little bit of oil or grease dripping down on the inside of it. That's okay, no big deal. The feet are attached right to the chassis, so you don't even have to remove them, but I'm going to remove them to clean them. And here we go. I can tell you right now, we're not going to do anything here other than maybe... Actually, no, there's no pitch control, so really there's not a lot to do here. But let's have a look at it and have a basic idea of how this turntable functions. Here's our power supply over here. Motor speed control board, I believe, with the speed switch. So we're going to clean that. Here's our auto return mechanism. Here's our bearing. I'm going to show you that this bearing is not serviceable from the bottom here. Just by doing that, you can kind of see how there's a gear here, and there'll be a little dollop of grease where a rounded bearing will just sit in there. And like I mentioned, we need to lubricate that from the top. Put a couple drops of oil there. This black grease you see here is fine. It's still very fluid. It's around the auto return here. There's a little bit on the plastic. This is the cut mechanism here. There's a little bit on the queuing lever here, but it's fine. Nothing wrong with this grease. We're not touching that, and it looks extremely sticky. Here is our queuing lift. So what happens is when this auto returns, it's going to push down on this, which eventually pushes up on the queuing when it's auto returning to lift the arm and get it out of the way of the record. So yeah, so that's a pretty unexciting turntable from the bottom, I have to say. Like I mentioned, it has a static anti-skate. It's set. This is the adjustment for the auto return. It's the only adjustable piece of this turntable. And we're not going to touch it yet. It's probably factory set. We'll see if it's out of adjustment. On our motor control board here, we have one capacitor and a fuse. Does this come up? It does not want to come up. Oh, it's screwed down. Let's see if we can lift the power supply. Very, very basic stuff here. Okay. We've got a piece of plastic here to keep pokey fingers from getting electrocuted. Remove that. Yeah, so we've got a 470 mic, 25 volt. Let's see what that's coming in at. $486. It's well within spec. I don't see any. Oh, sorry about that. My big head getting in the way. I don't see any other caps here. It must be a voltage regulator there. Little transformer. And that's it. Like I said, it's pretty basic stuff. Just bolt that back down. If you're really anal, change out the 470 mic cap there, and you know you're good. Okay. Over here we have a micro switch, which obviously turns on the motor when the arm's moved. And let's have a look at, let's zoom in just a little bit, if we've got speed control pots up here. We should have a couple pots here because there were two little holes. If you look right here, there are two tiny little holes at the front of the turntable, which is very handy. And you can access the speed pots, there they are right there, right here to adjust speed. So that's really handy. There's our grease. It's, like I said, it's still very liquidy. And there's our speed control board. Let's get some contact cleaner in there. We'll use a little bit of neutral for this. You know what? Let's hit these pots too. We're probably going to adjust the speed. Just need a little bit just to. This is speed 45, speed 33. So why don't we do this too? So 45 is on the bottom, right? It's 45, so flip it over on the bottom. So when you're looking here, this is 45. So we're going to put a 45 here. And a 33. There. I don't know why they don't mark it at the factory. Okay, so that is serviced. No, I didn't do. I didn't exercise the speed switch. Perfect. And what we'll do is we'll set speed with the phone app. And I think that's pretty much it underneath. What we might want to do is get the compressor and blow this out, but we'll leave that for the cleaning episode. Okay. I'm going to button it back up. That was not the most exciting service. We'll still do the motor, and we'll do some other stuff where the belt rides and all that stuff. But let me put these screws back in, and I shall return. Hey, welcome back. All right, we're back up top here. For this part of it, there is some belt gunk around the pulley here. It's just dried up belt. What you want to do is grab a Q-tip. So there's your basic cotton swab. And you want to put some, dunk it in alcohol and turn on the motor. That's a noisy motor, but I'll guarantee you we're going to shut it up in a minute. And what you want to do is you just want to wipe off this belt cube. See what I mean? Look at all that. This is a very dirty pulley. Wow, this one's filthy. You don't need a ton of pressure, just let the alcohol do the work. You're just trying to get rid of, that's not really nice. Look at that, eh? At least you can see that. Look, what a mess. And do it again. Eventually it's going to get clean. Look at this. I cannot believe how much goo is on this. Yeah, that's a second Q-tip. The motor does quiet down when you push on the pulley a little bit. Filthy. Okay. Let's see if we can shut this motor up a little bit. So grab just whatever machine oil you have, a light machine oil, and put a drop at the base of the shaft that goes into the top bearing. And let that sit for a couple seconds so it starts to go down. Let's see if this has shut it up at all. Listen to that. Hopefully you could have heard the noise, but now it's quiet. There you go. Our pulley is clean. Our motor is lubricated and quiet. Excuse my head. Deadly silent now. There you go. You have one serviced little motor. Now, if you're really anal, you can pull that motor, tear it apart, and get at the bottom bearing too. But you're going to be probably dealing with a couple brushes, and they're very, very delicate. I wouldn't recommend it most of the times. On an AC motor, absolutely, tear it apart. But on a DC motor, I wouldn't do it unless you really know what you're doing, okay? Just to put a drop at the top bearing, and as you can hear, it's quieted right down. Okay, let's zoom out. So the next step is pretty easy. It's just a matter of cleaning where the belt goes, and then we're going to install a cartridge and put a belt on it, obviously. So just like that pulley was filthy, where the belt rides on the platter is going to be dirty as well. It might not be as filthy, but if a belt died around that thing, it's going to be disgusting. And you might want to bring it to the sink with a heavy-duty degreaser. What I do is I wet a paper towel, and I just go around and I just wipe the inner platter here where the belt rides. And you can see a little bit of gunk coming off. It's not too bad. And we're just going to clean that until you get it squeaky clean. See, it's not horrible, but you know, better to clean it now for testing. I mean, we're going to give this, probably going to end up washing this, believe it or not, and polishing the outside to make it nice and shiny and make it look great. Like this part here is visible, so we'll put a little bit of probably, what's that stuff called, Brasso, or maybe some Mother's chrome polish. I don't know yet. We'll see, to make it look really sharp. Okay, a belt. All right, so here's a belt. This is a 305 millimeter belt, I believe. So I think that's around the 23.6. I think that's going to fit fine for a Japanese turntable like this. So you just want to put it around there. Yeah, that's great. It's not too tight. It's got just enough elasticity to hold up against the platter. All right, you just want to grab your belt if you can, and just hold it around the motor just like that. Our oil has sunk down, so let's see this turntable spin for the very first time. There we go. It's probably going to auto return. Yeah, there it goes. Oh, it looks great. Awesome. All right, let's see what kind of speed it's holding. I'm just going to put the strobe on here for a minute, just so I can see if it's fast or slow. It's really fast. Yeah, both 45 and 33 are super fast. Let me start up my app. Hang on one second. Okay, the phone app is set up. I'm trying to block off the glare from the light here. And we're going to check 33. It's 35. So that's pretty fast. You're going to notice that. 35.8, almost 36. Let's see our 45. 49. Okay. That could be the belt is a little bit different than the original. Really shouldn't matter that much, but as you can see here, we're too fast. So let's try to set up the camera here. Now, I gotta pause. Just hang on a sec. Okay, I've got the front end of the turntable just hanging over the workbench here. And we're going to do, I think you can see that okay. Yeah, 49.2 it's showing right now. 49.3. Speed is pretty stable. It's just fluctuating by 0.1, which is pretty good. I'm going to get underneath here, and I'm going to adjust 45 first. So you need a really small screwdriver. There we go. You'll feel it when it catches. You start turning that pot until you get down to 45. It's kind of touchy. I don't think you can get much better than that. Okay, so there's 45. I gotta say, I'm pretty pleased with that. That's 45 right on the money. Who said belt drives can't hold speed? All right, it's probably me who said that. All right, 35.9. Let's do our 33. My screwdriver is just a little bit thicker than the hole, but it's cardboard. Just push it in there. Don't worry too much. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Oh, wrong way. We want 33.3. I would rather have it fluctuating a little bit faster than slower. I like that. I like that. Okay, let's yank this out. Oops. Oh yeah, I'm really pleased with this. And back to 45. Oh, look at that, eh? 45 has dropped. That'll happen occasionally. As you adjust one, the other one will move as well. So now we got to go back and do 45 again. Maybe in this one you have to do 33 first. All right, let's go back to 33. So 33 is still holding nicely. And there's our 45. I'm happy with that. Okay. All right, so there we go. 45, 33. Done. Done, done, done. Perfect speed. All right. So now, let's shut off our phone. And we are going to install a cartridge. So most P mounts, like this Hitachi branded Audio-Technica, will have a tiny screw on the side that you have to remove. And you just need a, most of the times it's a Phillips, but it could be a slotted. Your turntable may vary. So you just want to remove that screw. Just like that. It's going to go all the way through the cartridge. There may be a nut on this side, or it just might be, the threads might be built into the tone arm. All right, so once you have that, you just want to hold the tone arm, grab the cartridge, and just kind of wiggle it. Don't, if you notice any resistance, don't twist it or anything like that. You'll break off the pins or damage the head shell. Just try to pull it out. There you go. Wiggle it out, and there you have it. There's your Audio-Technica branded Hitachi. It's called an HT-1 T4P, and that is an Audio-Technica. I'll show you that it's an Audio-Technica. I have a broken Audio-Technica stylus here, and you'll see that it fits right in, just like that. That's how it fits. Okay, so if you're looking for a replacement stylus for this style of P-mount cartridge, it's going to look like this. This one was, well, there's no model number on this. It's probably, like I said, the 1892 or something like that. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to remove our old cartridge, and then we're going to install our new cartridge. You might want to remove the stylus. I'll just leave the stylus protector on there. And this is the beauty of the P-mount system. All you need to do is get your new cartridge, line it up, just like that. They're all the same. They all have the same weight, and drive it home. You are done. No alignment. Most of the time, no setup, no nothing. You're done, right? That was the beauty of the T4P system, the P-mount. There was nothing to do. It was honestly, I think it was one of the greatest ideas in turntables. Why not have a cartridge you have to do nothing about? It's always aligned perfectly, right? Right from the factory. Never have to do anything again except just pull it out or replace the stylus. Anyway, it didn't catch on because the CD came out and turntable sales started to suffer. So it went the way of the dodo. And, you know, snobby British companies probably look down on it. This doesn't have to be super tight. Just make sure it's snug. Okay, the cartridge isn't going anywhere. It kind of snaps in there. All right. I think we're done. So we have, zoom in just a bit. We've installed a new belt. We've serviced our motor. We've looked underneath for something to service. We really didn't do much. We just did the speed switch. There's really not a lot to do on this turntable. We're going to plug it in. And the next thing, obviously, is you want to check for sound now. Make sure, those are pretty beefy cables. Make sure you have, no issues with RCA cables, which could very well happen, especially on a thrift store turntable. But we will test that right now. We have power. We're going to test for sound. Okay. Let's grab a record. Our $20 turntable is ready for action. So queuing. And here we go. Amazing. Look at the queuing. Perfect. Nice kicky bass. I'm impressed. Check our auto return point here. There's an adjustment under this plug. And look at that. No adjustment necessary. Smooth as butter. Click, and she's off. Look at that, eh? $20 turntable. Is it the best turntable money ever could buy? No, absolutely not. Problem with these turntables? Any touch of the plinth makes a hell of a lot of noise. It's plasticky, right? But I mean, you could do a few acoustic dampening things. Maybe stuff some of the areas with a little bit of plasticine or something. Stuff like that, just to make it a little bit more heavy duty. It's pretty light, right? It's plastic. But yeah, I mean, for playing records, if you're not a connoisseur or an audiophile, what can you beat for $20, right? Yeah, you might have to put a little bit of money into a belt, right? It's probably going to cost you a little bit more, right? There's no doubt about it. Finding one with a belt and with a stylus, next to zero, unless you buy, obviously, a used and serviced one. But there you have it. There is our Hitachi HT-1. We've done a complete service on it to get it running again. That was part one. In part two, we will be cleaning this thing and making it look like it just came out of the factory. So I'll catch you in that one. I don't know if that video is going to come out next. Maybe a month down the road or something. We'll do that. But keep your eye out for that. And we will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.